Hello and welcome to Hidden History. In this episode we will discuss the cathedrals, the churches and chapels of the Old World Empire. Cathedrals, churches and chapels were once used for other purposes, alongside with the worshipping of the Christ awareness in Great Tartaria and the Old World Empire, because each of the cathedrals, churches and chapels absorbed the boundless telluric electricity from the ether through domes, needles, spirals and steeples. In the initial days of cathedrals, churches and chapels, they were used as healing temples, where the congregation in Great Tartaria and the Old World Empire would enjoy using songs, chanting, musical instruments and entertainment. Additionally, the cathedrals, churches and chapels were used to biologically and medically restore and optimize health. In most of the cathedrals, churches and chapels there are metal bells that emit ultrasound frequencies of at least 25,000 hertz. When the congregation, parishioners or laity are exposed to such kinds of sound or frequencies, it then increases the biological resilience of humans by enhancing and optimizing the immune system. The spiral pathway of the sound wave then destroys most sickness by harmonizing the cells of human beings. The sound of the metal bells in the cathedrals, churches and chapels activates the microleptons, which are the ultralight particles. These remove the isotopes harmful to biological health, creating harmony in the genetics and the cells of the body. It was very well known that during times of mass sickness and disease, the bells of cathedrals, churches and chapels would ring all day long. Every part of the ecclesiastical architecture that defines the features of cathedrals, churches and chapels was used to enhance these frequencies of the congregations in these buildings of the Old World Empire. When it comes to each of the architraves on the entrances to cathedrals and the spires, these features were designed to absorb the telluric electricity from the ether. The geometry design on the floors of these healing temples were interconnected and somehow increased the amount of ether energy which resonated into the cathedrals, churches and chapels by evenly distributing the resonant telluric electricity, much of which became stored in the capacitors in the healing temples. So this is why such cathedrals, churches and chapels have angled features and geometric patterns that were designed in a way to fully optimize genetic health, with pulsating somatic patterns that were formed because of the ecclesiastical architecture that defines the cathedrals, churches and chapels. The oldest cathedral on planet Earth is in the cityscape of Var-Pushvad in western Armenia. The Echi Miazan Cathedral was apparently built in 483 AD, but these healing temples would date back a lot further and were built on geomagnetic ley lines. We must note how Armenia is right next to Georgia and next to the Islamic Republic of Turkey. Before the repurposing of these healing temples, the rose windows did not contain silicon dioxide or glass and instead contained quartz crystals. So when the photons came through the window, they emitted certain wavelengths of restorative luminescence, and when combined with the choral singing and chanting, the congregations, parishioners or laity of the Old World Empire were medically restored and cured of any sickness. During the early medieval period and the Dark Ages, there was a repurposing of many cathedrals, churches and chapels. Some of these buildings were converted by the Roman Catholic Church and the Vatican City State. However, certain other kinds of cathedrals, churches and chapels were constructed by the Roman Catholic Church across mainland Europe. It has been proven that human beings that are exposed to music in the frequency range of 70 decibels to 85 decibels produced a higher number of viable red blood cells than if exposed to silence. The lower frequencies of music gives oxygen to the hemoglobin molecules than faster frequencies. And this was the case in the healing temples of Great Tartaria and the Old World Empire. So the lower frequencies mimic the heartbeat and cause the hemoglobin in human beings to uptake the dissolved oxygen in the blood. So through the night, while resting in what the human beings in Great Tartaria and the Old World Empire called incubation sleep, these musical frequencies restored and helped to self-regulate their bodies. So as the bodies of human beings are made of around 60% water, music will have a huge influence on the body. Lower frequencies will boost the oxygen in the blood of human beings and boost the response of the immune system. Along with this, each of the ornate metallic pipe organs and the choral singing or chanting at lower and higher frequencies within the cathedrals, churches and chapels repeatedly formed somatic vibration that could optimize the congregations, parishioners or laity that were inside. When you look at the choir stalls within cathedrals, churches and chapels and the intricacy built into the design, was this architecture somehow vibrationally working with the choirs and musical instruments played in these healing temples? The earliest indications of the metallic pipe organ goes back to 350 BC, which was the hydrolis or water organ or hydrolis. That was a Greek water-powered organ or hydraulic organ played by the use of compressed valves. The resourceful classical Greeks also called it organon or instrument. But from the 31st of January 1846 and onwards, all this information was suppressed and organs were detuned, changing the frequency of these restorative tools. It is by no mistake that every building from the Old World Empire and Great Tartaria contains a metallic pipe organ. And this isn't always in cathedrals, churches and chapels. You have the Royal Albert Hall, Alexandra Palace and Blenheim Palace in the United Kingdom. But all over planet Earth, these edifices contained organs. We can see with the chronovisor of the Roman Catholic Church and the Vatican City State, which is a device that can be used to look into the past and uses the metallic pipe organs. According to what the chronovisor found, it was a kind of acoustic-based occult technology in Great Tartaria and the Old World Empire. When you look into the historical narratives about these cathedrals, churches and chapels, along with other relatable buildings, you will begin to see glitches, redacted information and deleted words in the building records, construction times, what the purpose was of many of these cathedrals, churches and chapels, and what they actually were. What was the true purpose of these buildings? Were they healing temples?